Did you know that God spoke to people in dreams a lot of times in the Bible? Most people know about Joseph in the Old Testament and know about Daniel, but he spoke in dreams a lot. Even people that weren't aligned with him, he gave warnings to. So you are in for a treat with this video. So hello, I'm Chara Harris, and welcome back to my channel, Chara Harris Online, where I talk everything Bible, faith, and beauty. And today, this is video 2 in my dream series, and I'm going to go through um, all the times in the Bible, at least what I came up with, or not came up with, but what I searched and found where God talked to somebody in dreams. So I have my notes here. You can see they're all kind of highlighted and colorful. So how I did my search is I went to Bible Gateway, that's free online, and I typed in dream in the search box, and it came up with all the verses that had dream in them. And then I clicked on it and read it in context, or a lot of times read the entire chapter to know what was going on. And then it gave me kind of like the theme, sorry, mixing my shirt, the theme of what was going on. And so if you read your Bible regularly, you know about Daniel having dreams and visions. You know about Joseph had a dream and then years later it came true. But there are other instances, a few that I hadn't even heard of, right? Or remembered, even though I've done a Bible through the year app and just still things jump out every single year when I read something new. There's some instances that I was not aware of. And then, of course, God spoke in dreams even in the Christmas story. I know we just came off of the Christmas season and entering the new year, but when we get over into the New Testament part, that's what we'll talk about. So I'm going to start in the Old Testament and just go all the way down. This is probably going to be more than one part because I don't want to make these videos super duper long. Um, Probably about 10 or 12 minutes, unless people say they want a longer or want it all in one piece. Then the next time I do a series, I can do it all in one piece. But right now, we're going to do some shortened versions. So let me get ready here and get started. All right, so we're going to start first in Genesis 20, chapter 20. And so I'm going to click here just to go to my in context area. Talk about it. All right, so this is right after God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, right? So Lot had to flee Sodom and Gomorrah, and then Abraham went another way, right? Because if you know the backstory, God told Abraham to leave this land and he will take him to a land that he will show him. And he meant to leave all of his family, and Abraham took Lot with him, and there was a whole lot of drama. But anyway, so this is when they actually split. So in here, Abraham ends up in this land. He's a foreigner. Let me see if I can go back and find. Here it is. So he's in this land of Gerar, Gerar. And so he's living there as a foreigner, like he's a nomad, right? Because God is just kind of guiding him as he goes. He doesn't even know the land that he's going to. He's just trusting God. So in this land, and when they get there, he tells the king that Sarah is his sister. Because in those days, kings had absolute power. And so he didn't want to say he was her husband, and then the king want her, and then he ends up killing him to get her. So it was just like, oh, well, she's not married, she's my sister, right? So Abraham, was one being truthful, but just like the rest of us, right? Who I don't know if we would have done any different in that situation in those days. But anyhow, so he tells the king that. So the king takes Sarah and puts her in his harem, right? But that night, God came to Abimelech in a dream and told him, "You are a dead man, for that woman you have taken is already married." And Abimelech was like, "What?" Like, even in the dream, he talked back and was like, "Would you destroy an innocent nation? Like, I haven't touched her." Like, he said that was his sister. She said that was her brother, Lord. Like, and God was like, "No, she's a married woman." So the next day, Abimelech confronted Abraham, and all of it goes from there. But I was just focused on the dream part. And so the dream part in that is a warning. So here we have where we've got God warned somebody in a dream um, to keep him from, number one, sinning. I don't know much about Abimelech. I haven't studied, so I don't know if he was a god, if he was following God or not. So I can't really say, but God warned him, right? So that's the first theme I got a hold of was that he was warned in a dream. So then the next instance where God speaks to someone in a dream is we go all the way to Genesis 28. And so let me go there. And in Genesis 28, we're in like basically verses 9 through 13, I would say. And here we have okay, so here we have Jacob. Well, first we got Esau gets married, but then we have Jacob. Um this is before he ends up with Laban and the whole Rachel and Leah situation. So we have Jacob at sundown. He arrives at the place to set up camp. So he left Beersheba and he's traveled toward Haran. All right. And he finds a place to sleep. And as he slept, he dreamed of a stairway that reached from the earth up to heaven, and he saw angels of God going up and down the stairway. Now, I remember that part. You hear about Jacob's ladder or their stairway to heaven, and there's angels going up and down, and you hear that. But when you keep reading about what happened in the dream is not just a stairway. So if you keep reading in verse 13 of Genesis 28, we have at the top of the stairway stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your grandfather Abraham, and the God of your father Isaac. The ground you are lying on belongs to you. I am giving it to you and your descendants. So he's confirming again the promise that God is confirming again the promise that he gave to Abraham. This is him confirming it to Jacob in a dream, right? So we have Revelation. So let me click a little more. Let's see if I want to read more. Yes. So we go on to verse 14. This is still God talking. Your descendants will be as numerous as the dust of the earth. They will spread out in all directions to the west and the east and to the north and the south. And all the families of the earth will be blessed through you and your descendants. What's more, I am with you and will protect you wherever you go. One day I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have finished giving you everything I have promised you. And then Jacob woke up and was like, surely God is in this place, and he creates an altar and all this thing right there. But again, and that's he named the place Bethel, which means house of God. And that was that area. But again, if we focus on the dream, right, you have God confirming a promise he spoke earlier. He gave Jacob revelation and he even gave him encouragement, saying, look, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to go wherever you go, just like I was with Abraham and Isaac. Like, so we've got Genesis 20, we've got warning, and then now we've got revelation, right? And prophecy, because he's prophesying, saying, your descendants are going to be many, they're going to spread in all these directions. I'm giving this land to you. And encouragement as well that he's going to be with him. All right, so we're going to keep moving. This is still Jacob again. We're going to go to Genesis 31. So let me get back to, I don't know if I should use my computer for my Bible or my phone. I got to figure out what's going to be easier, but anyway. So in Genesis 31, all the way from we're going to be in like I think verse 10 through 11. But if you go a little early, if you read earlier, you'll understand what's going on. So in here, this is when Jacob starts seeing that Laban, that's Rachel and Leah's dad, is starting to like have a little different attitude toward him. And Jacob is like, it's time for me to leave. I done worked my 14 years. Like, it's time for me to go. So in that, Laban told Jacob that he could take all of the spotted and the speckled and the striped flock, right? I think they were goats. I'm not quite sure, but he's like, you can take all of them. Because Laban was not a very honest person. And so he was like, well, I'm just give you the ones that all messed up. But God was with Jacob, right? Even though Jacob wasn't, he wasn't all the way honest either, but he was part of the promise. And so God was with him too. So God's going to confirm that in a dream. So here we go. So Jacob calls his wives and he tells them, look, we got to start, your dad is treating me a little bit different. He's not the same attitude. And so we're going to have to pack up and we're going to go our own ways. He said, Laban has changed my wages 10 times, but God has not allowed him to do me any harm. And so that's when he goes on to tell the wives about how Laban said, well, you can have all the speckled animals and the spotted ones or the striped ones. So during the mating season, though, he's still telling his wife this. He had a dream. Jacob had a dream. And so here we are. We are in Genesis um 31 verse 10. So one time during the mating season, I had a dream and saw that the male goats mating with the females were streaked, speckled, and spotted. Then in my dream, the angel of God said to me, Jacob, and I replied, yes, here I am. And the angel said, look up, you will see that only the streaked, speckled, and spotted males are mating with the females of your flock, for I have seen how Laban has treated you. I am the God who appeared to you at Bethel, the place where you anointed the pillar of stone and made your vow to me. So now get ready to leave this country and return to the land of your birth. Right. So Jacob is telling this dream to his two wives. And so then they start packing up and leaving. But again, if we focus on the dream, we've got confirmation again. We got confirmation of God's favor to him, right? So Laban spoke something and was like, oh, you can have all the speckled ones and everything like that. And God is like, okay, so I'm going to make more speckled ones happen. So Jacob was favored and God gave him that revelation in a dream. All right. So we have warning. And then so far we've got revelation and prophecy and even encouragement. Like he's still saying, look, I'm going to be where you are. I was the same person that spoke to you in the dream in Bethel, and we're going to move forward from there. All right. So if we move farther down in verse 31, so Jacob, Rachel, and Leah, and all their kids, their families, they leave, right? And Laban follows after him because somebody stole one of the family idols or some kind of statue or whatever. So he's going after them. And let me see, verse 20. So we're still in 31. I think it's verse 24. Let me find it. Yes, but now God actually appears to Laban in a dream, okay? Because Laban was Hebrew as well, even though he had his tricky ways, but so did Jacob, right? So they gathered up everybody and set out for pursuit. So he's going after Jacob, and he caught up with Jacob. Laban caught up with Jacob 7 days later. But the previous night, God appeared to Laban, the Aramean, in a dream and told him, I'm warning you, leave Jacob alone. Now, I'm reading in the New Living Translation, so it uses kind of plain English, but in the New King James, it came off as like, don't you speak negatively or positively about Jacob, like just let him be. So here we get, we have a warning, right? We've got God warning somebody in a dream of what to do or what not to do. And then you can read the rest of the story, but about what happened when Laban caught up and all that. All right. So that was Genesis 20, 28, and then 31. And so we're going to end. I'm actually going to end right there because the next, in the third video of the series, we're going to go into Joseph's dream. And this one, it starts off in Genesis 37. All right, so I'm going to end there for this video. And I hope this is helpful to you. I hope you write down these verses and you actually go read the story, read the context yourself. Even if you have read through the Bible and you do the Bible through the year, it's amazing how when you focus on one theme or one aspect, and then you go back and read stories, it makes the stories even make more sense. And come, you get more revelation and they come alive to you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, click to subscribe, and make sure you click the bell so you get notification when part 3 will come. And that's where we're going to move into Joseph's dreams and him interpreting dreams. So thank you very much, y'all, for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.